I am Coral, your host, and I have a bonus host here with me today, Debby Goldsberry. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thanks, Coral. Hi, everyone.
You are a long-time activist and advocate. I've learned a lot about how to campaign for ending prohibition and how to talk to the public about marijuana from watching you do it. And it's incredible, so I'm really, really excited that you're here on my show. I have a bowl packed for you.
Pretty.
I tend to use hemp wick when I smoke. I don't know if you do, but I have a little candle lit and ready, and yeah, I just like it.
With the coral.
It's easy, then no one can walk away with it. I'm like, that's mine. You know, it's mine. I do have some pre-selected questions from StoneySunday.com and Twitter, #AskStoneySunday. But the live questions are what make the live episode really fun. So if you're watching and you want to ask something, please feel free. And my question for you, Debby, is was there a moment or a certain action, event that really turned your eye to cannabis and made you realize like people need to be more vocal about it?
Yes, two things. When I was in college at the University of Illinois, the very first time I tried cannabis, I felt like my whole life changed for the better. It was just one time, and my life was better.
Wow.
So I couldn't wrap my head around how something that was so important to me could actually be illegal.
Mm-hmm.
It made no sense. I was being trained to be logical, but there was actually such a broad and obvious point of illogic that I became interested in fighting the war on drugs. But for me, the real changing point was when I saw my friend beaten up for cannabis, when he was arrested by the police at a pro-pot smoke-in.
Wow.
And the police came in. They didn't want any more smoke-ins back in the 90s. And they beat him up. Rex, if you're out there.
What is Rex?
He was on the newspaper, you know, with the cops dragging him away bloody.
Oh
it was
my
too
gosh.
much for me to know that how beneficial cannabis actually was, and to see people beaten up bloody for using cannabis.
Oh my god, absolutely. I've only attended rallies and protests in the cannabis community for the last 5 years, and I never see violence. It doesn't go down like that. I feel like things have changed so much. I can't even imagine it getting to that point at a cannabis rally. Like that's so scary. I can see why that would change your whole I don't know, focus right there.
Well, I got involved in cannabis reform in the 90s, at the late 80s and the early 90s, the height of the war on drugs. And the laws actually said that the police could stop you based on how you looked. So if you looked like you used cannabis, you were going to get stopped by the police on the streets, walking down the streets, driving in your car. If you had a Grateful Dead sticker, or all of us were in the closet afraid to wear a ganja leaf or talk about marijuana because we were literally being arrested.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's still that way in some states. Like in California, it's changed so drastically. Yeah. But I wear pot leaves almost every day, and I have never in California really experienced, like, especially legal backlash, but even just dirty looks or anything don't really happen.
Right.
But I know it has to be different in other states, and it still has to be scary. But that's kind of why we need to just, like, break the stigma and wear them everywhere, let people know it's non-violent, regular people. We're all just hanging out,
right,
enjoying some cannabis. Maybe one more hit in here, and then we'll get you.
Okay.
Yeah, we smoke tough.
This is like a Jupiter pipe or something.
Oh yeah, my friend Destruct actually made that pipe.
Oh.
Sorry. It's nice and windy out here. But Destruct normally makes little rigs, and I saw a pipe he made, so I was like, I want the pipe. I will look through the live stream to see if there's any coming in right now, and then I'm definitely going to have to grab some of the questions. Oh. People were here hours ago, ready, excited. But I'm glad they came back for the live one. Where were you when you first got involved? You were in college?
Illinois. University of Illinois.
Wow. That's got to be completely different.
It's so different, but the thing about the University of Illinois is it has a long history in cannabis. So some of the biggest hemp farms, you know, that there were back in the war effort in the 50s were right in that area. And there was a student who had a big DEA test crop there, so there was I met this guy. He told me that he had gotten a permit from the DEA to study cannabis, and he applied for a permit. He was one of us, but he applied saying, I want to find out about molds and mildews that destroy marijuana. And in reality, he was trying to figure out how to protect marijuana from molds and mildews, but he did the work at the University of Illinois.
Which kind of brings up the point that you almost have to phrase it as like a negative against cannabis if you want any financial support in a federal way.
Exactly.
They're not funding pro-cannabis research. They weren't then. They're still not now. So you kind of do have to trick them and say, like, well, we're looking for a way to kill cannabis, and that way we can protect our buds, really. About hemp, I actually had a question from a Hazy Blaze who might be watching live and is like on fire with questions. I think this is the third week in a row I'm using a question from him. And he's a Texas reefer, and he's saying that there's a lot of talk about hemp in Texas. Let's see, what are your thoughts considering hemp is the leader of cotton production? Do you think there's going to be a big switch, and is hemp the future? Is hemp a big part of the future?
I think hemp is a huge part of the future. I can't wait till I can get my hemp everything, you know, because when I first found out about hemp, it was from Jack Herrera, and he had gone to the Library of Congress and really looked up the history because it had been scrubbed from all the libraries, right? So we had to go out and find hemp fiber and find hemp paper and find hemp cloth and realize the potential. So to see it all kind of becoming, you know, actualized is really cool. But as far as I know, I should be able to get a hemp car, you know, hemp furniture,
Isn't
hemp
it like
rugs,
the first
hemp.
car ran on hemp?
Yeah, I don't know. Henry Ford, right? He had a hemp car, so you can find the video of the whole thing. Hemp fuel, you know.
Maybe not that shirt. This shirt is a hemp. It's a hemp blend.
Oh, nice. Yes,
but
I like
unfortunately, it's imported hemp right now because we don't have the American production
right.
that I know of. You guys, I'm still looking. If you guys are American hemp producers and you do wholesale shirts, different colors, I want it. I love making the hemp shirts. They last forever. Like, they're amazing. So I'm not going back. Now that I've done hemp shirts, that's all I want to make.
Well, there's some controversy too because we have to have some kind of standards about how far apart can the industrial hemp be from the outdoor medicinal and adult personal use cannabis. We are working in the industry kind of wrestling with, like, there's got to be some distance so we just don't cross-pollinate. I know nothing about it either, you know.
Yeah, I don't know enough about growing. Like, are they suitable to different climates? So maybe, like, some states can grow the weed and some states can grow the hemp.
Well, I was overhearing Doug Fine at that conference we spoke at, the ICBC, right? He was saying, I think, something like there needs to be 2 miles distance between the two for some kind of, to protect for cross-pollination. So I think that's interesting. Yeah. How about we put the hemp in the Central Valley and we keep the Emerald Triangle full of ganja?
I love it. I'm all about this. And all over, everywhere needs jobs and just new ways to produce tax, new ways to go to work, new ways to have something to do. So, I don't know, hemp is really interesting. I have hemp earmuffs that are super soft, and every time I say they're hemp, people don't believe me because they're really, really soft and fuzzy. Doesn't seem that surprising to me. I love them, but I got them over in Amsterdam, and I'd never seen anything like that till I was there. They have a whole hemp shop. I wish I could remember the name of it. I don't know if you know what it is. It's been there for years. It's like a hemp headquarters.
Or something like that, I think.
Maybe.
Yep, don't know.
But it's awesome, and I love going out there. I see someone in the live chat saying Indiana just legalized industrial hemp last year. There's a bunch of states that are moving forward with industrial hemp, but there's also clauses sometimes that say it's like they're ready for it when federal change happens. So they're like, they're cool with it now, their laws are in place. When federal change happens, then they'll actually start farming. So I don't know if Indiana's one of those laws, but I want more hemp.
More hemp.
Yeah.
We need more hemp, and then somebody's got to make machinery to modernize it. It hasn't been grown forever, so do we have the right tractors, and how do you make the paper? Like, is there a different kind of paper mill somebody needs to make? I don't really know. I think it's going to be great. We're right at the beginning.
Like, we really are. I had a question, actually. I wonder if it's one of the pre-selected, because it's one that I get asked fairly often, and I wonder if it's something you consider too. Okay, I think it might be one that's just from my brain. I don't know if anyone asked this, but sometimes I get asked, in a post-legalization world, we're all smoking when we want, hopefully where we want reasonably, are you going to be out of a job if you're an activist?
Right, that's what I asked at that thing in Oakland when we were there down at the Waterfront Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
What happens?
Wow. Oh, it's such a hard question, right?
I like
Okay, people who are advocates and people who are industry people and medical cannabis people, we got to be on our game to make sure that when the language is created in California, that it takes this matter to heart, because people who are well funded to pass an initiative tend to write initiatives to, like, the swing voters, like maybe to satisfy a soccer mom or somebody who's got a irrational concern that we have to satisfy by making some kind of a irrational part of the law. So I think it's important that we keep pushing and pushing that to get our vote, you have to actually make a rational law. So,
yeah, and genuine voices are important.
Yeah, preserve home cultivation, make sure there's a lot of room for enterprise, free up the application process, stop the bans, you know.
Yeah.
People need jobs.
I think, yeah, people need jobs. The home growers, the small-time farmers, the boutique-style buds, I think that needs to be protected, absolutely. When it comes to people that talk about pot for a living, I don't think legalization is going to slow down jobs. I feel like there's going to be more companies than ever that are ready to hire you to consult, bring you on to hopefully write the bills, hopefully get involved with the legislation, or you can just insert yourself right in. Don't wait for the phone calls. But
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to slow down anyone that really has a genuine passion for cannabis. I think we can still keep getting involved and, like you're saying, make sure that the laws represent the genuine will of cannabis consumers and cannabis enthusiasts and patients and the whole spectrum of people involved in cannabis.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I'm involved, as you know, with the Coalition for Cannabis Policy Reform. So we have our campaign, the Reform California campaign, reformca.com.
Yeah.
And it's a grassroots campaign to make sure that people's voices are heard. And we have really found that we have to work hard to bring our own voices to the table and to fight against this desire to sell the initiative to the middle.
Absolutely. I'll have the link when this is all edited for YouTube. I'll have the link down below and in the info for sure. Livestream, it was reformca.com. Yeah, I've posted about it in the past. I really liked what I've seen put out from reformca.com so far, or reformca. And it's really important right now that California and any other state that doesn't have the legalization that they want quite yet, right now is the time, because 2016 presidential year election, more people are going to be involved in politics and getting out to the ballots, and we just need our voices heard. So that's a great way to get
because I think right now, finally, for the first time, Americans are overwhelmingly supporting changing the cannabis laws and legalizing it. We can't wait. You know, in California, it really is cram time. You know, we got to get our language inserted. We got to get this thing done. So.
It's so strange to me that California is behind in gay marriage and cannabis. How did? Who are we? What happened?
You know, because it's almost good because then the smaller states can kind of be like trial grounds, so we don't have to make all the mistakes. Right?
That's true. I was thinking trailblazers, but trial ground, you know, same thing.
Fine.
Yeah, it's good. We'll catch up. We'll be there someday. I had one question, and it's if you are into anything artistic. This question specifically towards me was if I was into anything artistic before I was melting glass. And I have to say that I tried painting and drawing and like doing that, and I was horrible. I got frustrated. It wasn't what I wanted. I would keep buying new colors or new this and just being like, no, like I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
And then glass, I was like, I can't wait to go back. I'm gonna do this every day. So I don't know. You find some sort of little hobby art thing, or I did. But do you do any art or sort of creative release?
Well, I'm kind of the same way with painting or drawing. Like I have a stick figure capacity to draw a heck of a stick figure. But you know what I like to do is I like to create spaces. That's what I find to be fun. Ooh. To have events and to host parties and to hold festivals and to combine the right people and the right performers and the right food and the right atmosphere, and then you actually have a whole creative experience. So
it's like a whole puzzle that you're really putting together.
Yeah, since I don't have particular artistic talents, I really like bringing people together and creating spaces.
You're welcome to come try Torch Time.
Hey,
if you want to melt glass,
I'm going to do that.
give it a shot.
I will do it.
It's a lot of fun. I tried event planning and I didn't like it at all. I was overwhelmed. It was horrible for me. So I am in awe of people that can do it well and enjoy it.
Quite fun. Yeah.
Awesome. And we are going. Debbie's birthday is on Sunday. Next Sunday is going to be a super Stoney Sunday. It's Debbie's birthday, and I am so inspired that you did this. To celebrate her birthday, you are raising money for the Reform California campaign towards legalization. You have a goal.
$25,000.
$25,000.
Oh,
that's amazing.
It's really motivating, you know, not to fail. So I'm really working hard to try and raise the funds.
I'm going to have a link down below if you want to buy the tickets. I think $500 is one ticket to get in, so we can get chunks of this $25,000 just chipped away.
Yes.
And there's also $100 options if you're out of state, if you do want to support. If you are already in a legal state and maybe you want to help California, please.
We need you. We definitely need you.
help us.
Yeah, and a lot of industry people are supporting. Magnolia Wellness, where I work, is supporting, and Cannabis Buyers Cooperative of Berkeley is supporting, and Berkeley Patients Group is supporting.
Is that what CBCB is?
Yeah, CBCB. Yes.
I did not know that's what it stood for.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So it should be super fun.
Well, I will be there for sure. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to have the info down below also for this episode. And I think it's going to be a great time. It's a great way to celebrate your birthday. That's awesome.
I think it's going to be fun. Very fun. We have a stand-up bass and a harpist and DJ with collectible vinyl. And
I can't wait. I already know what I'm going to wear. Done.
Nice.
Oh, wait. Well, Stoney Sunday shirt because it's Sunday. But, yeah. Oh, I think I have other questions that are coming up in the live stream and wherever. Oh, yeah. And that artistic question was from Mary Jane Against the World. Mary Jane Against the World. Sometimes feels that way.
No, I saw the Oakland Against the World t-shirts. That's how I want to get one of those.
That's a good one. Okay, I see this one from Shelby V, and it might be one that you get, I don't know, on social media a lot, but what's the best way to support legalization if you're on the East Coast or just specific to where you are? What's the best way to get involved in support? Throw money at it. That's a great way. That's definitely a good way. You have more to do, more to offer.
Well, because in a lot of communities there's already a drug policy group of some kind, so if there is, join up and see if it's what you like. But because there's so much stuff to get done, everybody can get involved exactly how they want. So what, are you into hemp? Plug in with the hemp people. Are you into medical marijuana only? Maybe you want to start an ASA chapter. Are you a student and you want to legalize it? There's SSDP, Students for Sensible Drug Policy. I
think all of those groups are linked on my website too, because I really tell people you're not alone. I joined a really small, I think there's only one branch of this group, and it was at my community college in Seattle, and it was the, I don't know, it wasn't normal, but it was something about cannabis reform law, something, and I met so many new people in my own town. It was really awesome.
Exactly.
And, we went outside the courthouse once, just 10 of us, and we held a little sign that was honk if you support legalization, and people sometimes feel like nothing got done because of it. So many people see that and they feel braver because you did it, and they feel like the conversation started because you did it. So
I think so too. There's so many creative people and so many things you could do. So just do whatever you want to do, but do something.
Do something.
If you're at home, do something online. If you have family members who are doubters, make that your case. Get them the info they need. Are a parent and don't know what to do, make sure your child knows the truth as they grow up and become responsible adults about cannabis and other drugs. And there's just endless things people can do to get involved. Write a letter to a prisoner. We still have people in prison serving life sentences for cannabis. Send them a letter. That would be great, and help groups like the Human Solution get those people out of prison.
Absolutely. There's so much to do, and a lot of those ones that you mentioned you can do for almost free. I mean, the cost of a stamp to send a letter, but if you're at home, writing online, contacting the local representatives, that type of thing, that's almost free. Just send an email, make a phone call. You can definitely have your voice heard really, really easily and in almost any level that you want.
Yeah, so you can, you want to write letters and you have your 5 best friends come over, you have a few bowls out, and you smoke a couple of joints, and then you write 5 letters, and you've actually changed some people's day.
This is just a question I just thought of, personal question. Do you ever have a right time, right place to smoke, where you're I shouldn't smoke because this event is more businessy? Or are you I'm gonna smoke because I want to smoke? I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't like to consume cannabis around children in public.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing that I try never to do, because I don't think that's modeling responsible behavior to children. I think that smoking should be an adult behavior. So yeah, if I'm in a public park and there are kids around, or a public space with children, then I think that that's probably not the appropriate place to consume cannabis. You can certainly wander away a few blocks and go to a more private spot. That's just a good neighbor thing. I'd like to model responsible cannabis use. So here, we're at home, we're outside, we're in the trees, there's no neighbors. That's a very nice place to consume cannabis.
There's
very
even
pleasant.
a privacy screen just in case anyone went up on their deck. It is very considerate, because you just don't know what someone else's day is going on, and they come out. Yeah, I agree. It's a good way to think of it. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to DC in just a couple of weeks. I think 3 or 4 weeks I'll be there. And I know, I guess now it's legal, so I don't have to worry as much, but I'm kind of looking forward to some, like, public smokeouts, just intentional smokeouts for troublemaking purposes, kind of. Like, to get the message out, because in California, I don't know, I feel like you can kind of, doesn't really say much to just smoke outside.
Well, I was on Highway 24 the other day. Here we are in Oakland, California, right? 24 is like a 4 lanes in each direction. It's an 8-lane highway. And this guy passes me in the fastest lane, smoking a giant bowl.
Oh, a bowl?
Oh my god. And I just thought, like, no, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's probably not a good idea.
I tend to pull over into rest stops and I get a snack and I enjoy a little break because I can't drive for that long straight anyway. I need to stretch. I need to, like, not only medicate for, like, my mental sake, but, like, restore my body in a minute too.
Totally.
Do a little stretch. So smoking while driving, I drive a lot, like when I'm on the road trips and I'm traveling, and I don't know, risky. And I've seen these, like, rigs that are designed to go in cup holders and, like, e-nails that are designed to go in the car sockets. And it just makes me think that when legalization comes to California, those are gone. Those are so gone.
That is
so fast.
Definitely the far end of the culture, you know.
Yeah.
To de-nail your car.
I know some people. I think the right.
Right,
Yeah.
I was checking that guy. I think he's driving pretty safe. You know, I don't know what to say, but I could not condone it.
Word back. This is a deep bowl. Let's see if there are more live stream questions. Oh, and it was 4:20 in the Central Time Zone. Central.
Chicago.
Megan S. was asking what the minimum for donating for California for CA is. And the button for the birthday party, we have a $100 option, but you can donate anytime.
Yeah, anything.
Anything to California
you
CA.
Can, in the button that's
Or
on that the invite link, it says $100, but you can put in 10, 5, $4.20. It'll take any amount that you want to donate.
Okay, so click the $100 one and then just put in whatever.
Yeah, it just takes you to the spot that you can just type in whatever. And on our website, you can just, anytime that you want to, like, skip a latte and donate $4.20 over to the campaign. I figured it out one time. I did the math and I figured out that we could, if every person who consumed cannabis, we all think this, would donate like $4.20, all the Californians who consume regularly, we'd have 10 million bucks.
Totally.
We wouldn't be worrying about what our language was, right? We'd write our own good language.
Yeah.
But, at this point, because the fact is that the cannabis consumers are not donating to the campaign, you know, there's a few large donors that donate most of the money to the campaign.
And if we lose them, we're scrambled. Like, what are we going to do?
We are scrambled. You know, we have to build capacity amongst our own people to help them realize that we have to give back. You know, like at my birthday party, we're trying to bring individual donors and industry professionals so that people start thinking like, look, we got to donate to this if we want our voice to be heard in the language.
Mm-hmm.
2 ways. We have to bring people and money, so we better come to the table. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this on my birthday, because I would like my voice to be heard and that of my friends. So I figure if we can consolidate on one day, raise $25,000, you know, I bet that's going to get our voice heard, because we're doing polls and writing language right now at the Coalition for Cannabis Policy Reform. And I for sure, when they say, like, what should we put in the polling, would like the voice of the industry and the patients to be included in those questions, because it'll shape not only what goes in the polling, but like what goes in the language, but those swing voters, how are we going to change their mind about cannabis? Like, maybe they're feeling shaky about something that we feel strong about. How do we talk to them to move them on that issue?
Yeah.
Or is something just never going to pass because it's like way too bad and it's going to tank the whole thing? Then is there something that we have to rethink on our ideas? It's hard to say, but let's make sure we get our voice heard.
Absolutely.
Bring some money and people to the table.
No minimum. Get involved any level. Oh,
420.
Thank you.
Everyone should do 420, at least 420 a year.
Yeah. Oh my God, a year.
A year. It's
month.
one latte. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just spent 420 on a cappuccino today. You know.
Yeah, and I mean that's like a bowl. That's a dab and a half or something.
Dab and a half. A dab and a half for the cause.
Let's see. Do we have
a lot of dispensaries are putting our sticker campaign at their cash register now, you know, where donate your spare change into the bucket, you get this silver sparkly reformca.com sticker.
I like that. It's nice to see like the different involvement or different, I don't know, campaigns going on when you're at the counter at your I'm so high already. At your dispensary. When I was down at Buds and Roses, they had a little info about Joey's strain, and it's kind of like Charlotte's strain in that it's a specific strain that helps a specific child, and they have it available there. But you can also donate there, and like I learned his whole little story just because it was right by the counter there. So
yeah, that's
awesome.
what we do at Magnolia. Also, we have people give their spare change to our food bank because we have a food bank for our patient members that just need an extra bag of food or maybe 2 a week.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Super good. Yeah.
And so many clubs, I don't know if I've mentioned it a few times on the show, but so many people don't realize a lot of dispensaries offer compassion programs. So that if you are extremely low income or your medical bills are extremely high and cannabis is not feasible for you to afford and pick up on your own, a lot of dispensaries and caregivers will have a compassionate program that you can access.
Yeah, at Magnolia we have a barber shop 2 days a week and a beauty shop 1 day a week where you can get your dry trim or a hairstyle or makeup or nails, and we have acupuncture, massage, chiropractic, Chinese medicines, Reiki, and then we have free programs every week for people with cancer, AIDS, HIV, Crohn's disease, seizure disorders, and of course our daily deals that discount cannabis every single day for people. So yeah, we really believe in the wellness program and giving back to the community. Operating like a not-for-profit, we still need our community behind us because we still have to change people's minds, let people know about medical marijuana, make these alternative therapies to people, these kind of holistic therapies available. So
absolutely.
At Magnolia, we're definitely focused on that.
I like that. And it's nice to just have it all in one place. Magnolia has like a whole separate room where you can go for the different services, and it's a beautiful space there. There's so much art.
Thank you. It's patient art. So
really?
It changes all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
It's really nice. I was saying, Debbie actually had me on the creativity panel, cannabis and creativity panel in Southern California. That was a Stoney Sunday. I think that was episode like 222 maybe. And I was saying on that panel that I've met so many different types of creative people that are patients or that are involved in cannabis. And there's just so many different industries and avenues you can go down through cannabis. You can be a painter and paint nugs. You can be a glass maker. You can be a business person, that's its own art.
That's right.
So it's just amazing. It's inspiring. Yeah, I'm still got a lot to learn, but this question is a little controversial. It's a little controversial, but I wanted to just ask. It's a good one, I think. But Sarah says it's a 2-part question, and she's a little new. She's a new reefer. Hey, what's up, Sarah? She says that sometimes she's noticed on the internet there are a lot of naked bong hits. Is there a special meaning for mine? Is there any reason why I would do them? And then, have I ever thought, or has it ever crossed your mind, the idea of provocative photos to promote legalization? Is that the point? Do you think that's a good message to have? My answer for it is that I have naked bong hit photos because I hit the bong naked, and I take photos like every hour. I'm taking pictures of what I'm doing because I take a lot of pictures. So it's genuinely generally true to what I'm doing, and it's just at my house. I don't work with a photographer. I never go somewhere and take sexy photos like that. That would feel awkward for me. So for me, it's just at home in my natural environment. That's what I like to do. I've lived by myself a long time. It feels comfortable. But when it comes to using that message for legalization, I personally don't like the idea of selling face and body because it's not a renewable source. So I would rather sell something that I can think of more, I don't know, be more creative with. So I haven't really used it to promote legalization as much as I've just tried to have my own blog that's about what I do and that type of thing. But I don't know, do you have any thoughts on it? It's a big question.
It's a big question. Well, I remember at first when they had the big first hemp expo down in LA when this whole thing was kind of blowing up and cannabis expos were happening. And it was just at the LA Convention Center, and they just had a lookbook where you could go and hire models to come work at your booth, and it was the first time it happened in the industry, And then suddenly
you sent it out and we're
right, and and so at this conference, there were a lot of scantily clad women, and it was just a really big shock because nobody had done that before, and and it wasn't all that tasteful, and in some ways it's just like it is a very niche thing to do at an event, because like people who are more conservative, or somebody like me, like I definitely like to well, dress how I want to dress and be who I want to be and express myself how I want to express myself and be as free as I want to be, and I think everybody else should. But I also like to choose the environment I like to go into, and in general I don't like to go hang out at places where there's tons of scantily clad women. I don't know, I just like felt like handing out like cheeseburgers and like chafing cream, because it was just like that, you know. I didn't know, it was just like a lot of
awkward to
it's
me.
awkward.
Like when you say you want people to be themselves and to be happy, wear what they want to wear. Those aren't the women that are at the events. The women that are at the events are getting hired to be there. They just want to get paid for a job that day.
Yeah.
And there's even times where I've heard sometimes models at these events saying negative things about cannabis, or asking like, oh, aren't you afraid you're going to get addicted? And it's like, get this girl out of here. There is no one beautiful enough to get away with saying that at a cannabis event.
And look,
get the fuck out.
I really like these 420 nurses though, and that's what makes me maybe a little controversial too, because they're the opposite. I'm not... Look,
the
they're
founders
carrying
got a good
boxes,
heart. I see
they're
that.
like doing work, you know, they're for the cause.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't, you know.
Like you were saying, God, do what you do for cannabis.
Do what you do.
But when I don't go to events naked. I wouldn't. That's not natural to me. So I wouldn't do it just to get more attention, because that is awkward and weird.
But at the same time, look, if that's how people want to rock it at the event, I'm totally fine about that too. You do what you want to do. But yeah, I think that the thing that that weirds me out is just the obvious hiring the sales girls, scantily clad sales girls. And then again, if you want to do that, that's fine too. But I might not feel that comfortable. And and this is what I think: if you want to do that type of thing and have that type of event, there's a great market for that. Totally fine. If people that go to stuff like that or want stuff like that, I have no problem with that either. There's a time and a place and a thing for every single person. And then sometimes the meeting of the cultures is pretty shocking, because I was teaching a class at Oaksterdam the other day, and somebody was like, we've got a real problem with, it was like an older gentleman, about those people, those high times people with their black hoodies and their dabbing and everything. And I totally love that, you know what I mean? But it's just, so it's kind of like all these different little culture enlightenments that we're going through about how other people think and live their life. And in some ways it's just a look at some other culture. I don't mind going every once in a while, but you know.
I recently had an example, or had a chance to kind of live by those values, and there was this smoke lounge party going on like once a week, and some friends invited me to go, and I was kind of nervous because I don't want to go and just be, pause for a second, I didn't want to just be like hounded for promotion while I was there. I was kind of like nervous, who's going to be there, is it friends or is it foes, like what's going on? So I heard a little more about it, and I was interested, and I was going to go, and then I wake up like the day that it's happening, or the day before, and they had posted like, oh, we need the finest stoner chicks at this party. And they tagged me and some other girls and said, tag some other girls. I was horrified. Like, I woke up that morning and like, that is disgusting. Like, I'm not the type to go to those parties. I have so much better to do with my time than to be some fine stoner chick filling up a room. Yeah. That was so disgusting. So I contacted them directly. I screenshot it. I said, hi, I've never spoken to you before, and I don't really appreciate you including me in this. Like, please don't use me as a prop in your party. And I wanted to see how they handled it. They never responded to me. So I just kind of never went to the party. I made clear on my feeds why I wasn't going. And it's awkward because then you see all your friends at a thing. You see everyone hanging out. It was definitely something that would have been fun. But it didn't make sense for me to go because it wasn't something I would have been comfortable at, knowing that they just invited me to be some fine stoner chick and like had nothing to do with me as a human being.
Right.
It was so frustrating. So you definitely have chances to live by those values. You don't have to be used as a prop. If you are a woman and you get those invitations, you can be flattered and be like, oh, someone thinks I'm pretty, and then be like, that's not anything though. That's not enough. That's not who you are as a person, and you're pretty without that. So
yeah, I had when I first got involved in the movement, there wasn't a huge movement anyway, you know, the advocacy, and then there were very few women. It was a lot of maybe men that were kind of holdovers at that point from the, I mean, it was like sex, drugs, and rock and rolls in the 70s, and so I got involved in the late 80s. It was a little holdover. But I remember being one of the few women at a big national event about cannabis, and then the director of the event gave his little speech at the schmoozy fundraiser after the event. There was going to be this countercultural icon speaking, and he was kind of a comedian, so the director got up and his comments were something like about him and me in a hot tub, and I was just like, this is how, this is, you know, where's the respect, and then
so hurtful.
People
like,
really had a hard time understanding, why would I care about that? Like, really, why would I care about this? Well, for one, you're recording this for posterity, you know.
Yeah.
Now, are you gonna bleep out that
Yep.
sexist reference to me, you know?
Yeah.
And,
I feel super blessed to have grown up like fairly gender neutral. Like my house was very gender neutral. I feel like anything a boy could do, a girl was doing. Like there was no question. I didn't really think about it that much until I was older and I started seeing all this different, just different interaction in that way. So I always try and ask people, like, would you say that to a dude? Like, would you say that to me if I was a dude? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, then why are you saying it to me? Like, we don't have any sort of, it's weird.
Yeah,
so people don't even realize the way that it happens. And yeah, especially, or even if you're a professional, even if you're an independent, very vocal, loud woman, you will have these moments to just walk away from a situation and say, that's not a room I'm comfortable in, and that's not something I want to be a part of. So yeah, I try and take ownership of my image. That's one thing I also like about the pictures that I do, is that I don't sell it to anyone else, that it's my own. If I want to be on the internet, I'm going to post my own thing, and no one else gets to like make money on that. But it's a personal choice. People just have to make for themselves. I was really inspired. I once saw Jodie Emery posing in like a bikini with some little political sign, and I was like, good for her. Way to go. It was cute. It got a lot of attention.
There you go.
She seemed happy.
Awesome.
I think that was all I have for the pre-selected questions. Yeah, so then we'll look through the live stream, see what else we have, and maybe another hit or two from this bowl.
Sativas.
Yeah, I have a bag of sativas. You had the CBD.
CBD concentrates.
And like I showed you my bag of cannabis, she had a bag of the CBD concentrates like equal. There's a lot of sampling to do. Even after the cup, you still got to try them.
And my roommate has the hybrids.
Oh my god.
64 concentrates.
There's 64 of them?
Yeah, 64.
Holy shit. There were 35. I'm going to say concentrates next time.
I want the sativas next time. That's going to be I'm going to get in early.
That's crazy, yeah.
It's a coveted category.
I think I said sativas are hybrids, maybe? Because what they do is they ask you a couple of things that you might be comfortable with. That way they get people that want to judge the specific categories. And I wouldn't be assigned... Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable judging CBD because I don't have a specific thing that I would, like, pay attention to when judging it, or I don't have a physical need for it.
Well, I felt the same way. I didn't know enough about CBD, so I had to call some people over that I thought knew more than me, so...
I like that they say you can do that. You can, like, outsource some
Make
judging,
your own team,
get some
right?
help.
Yeah, because I had to have people come to help me judge the characteristics of it, because I didn't know enough, you know. Plenty of experts in the Bay.
The live streamers got into their own great conversation about legalization,
nice.
when it's going to happen, different states.
2016, California.
Yeah. Yeah, I take Uber a lot and like just drive around different places, so I'm talking to strangers all the time. And we'll end up talking about pot, and then they'll ask, like, oh, when do you think it's going to happen? And I say, 2016, we're doing it.
2016, oh my god.
Tell
Can you
everyone.
imagine if we had to wait till 2020? That'd be insane.
I believe that it'll change has to happen before that. Like,
well, because the thing
on.
is if we legalize in California in 2016, by 2020 it can be done at the federal level too. So we need California to move forward with an initiative, and we got to win that thing. And let's just knock this thing out of the ballpark, legalize at the federal level, and then we can do it all. We'll have a hemp industry.
California has the space.
We'll have everything. Yeah. Tons of jobs we can all dream build. It's a brand new industry. There's space for every single person, you know. What are we going to do? We're going to do it all.
Oh, I learned the SWOT analysis from you, from that panel. I'm learning. Yes. You're doing business consulting now.
Yeah, with Liana Limited. My cousin that you met, she's a cannabis accountant, you know, and she specializes in 280E accounting, that IRS law that they try and use to crack down on cannabis businesses. So.
See, no matter what you do, if you are a number cruncher, you can crunch cannabis numbers.
Very needed. Real people from the real business world, you know.
Yeah, it's hard going into a tax person and talking to them about, even blogging about cannabis, if they're not somewhat comfortable or if they don't even know what's going on. You need someone involved in the community, up to date with the laws, so that they feel comfortable filing what they need to. Give you greens on this last bowl for Stoney Sunday.
Sativas.
I'm so glad you could join me for this episode.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone who's watching in the live stream. I'll see if there's maybe one more question at all. Everyone's just chatting with each other. I love it. I love it. There's some regular live stream watchers, and they catch it every Sunday lately, and it's so fun to see you guys talk.
That's awesome.
Actually, speaking of, I made a Facebook group for World Reefers, and it's like a secret group. So I don't know how to add people, because I want it to be secret so no one can tell you're in it, and like you won't get busted by your friends or family. But we're going to find a way to add people, and then reefers can talk in this secret Facebook group and be free to express, and some people don't like Facebook, but whatever. I'm in one secret group so far, and I love how secret it is. Like, it really works out. No one's bosses see that you're in this named group and that type of thing.
That is cool.
So I think I'm going to do that for the World Reefers. And thank you guys for joining me for this week's episode. Oh my goodness, all of a sudden a whole bunch are in here. Anything, questions? No, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for staying high with me. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.